Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Sudha.
The following is a class on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 1, given by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, recorded on September 26, 1998 in Mumbai.
Nishamya vacham vadatho Nune punyathamam dripa Bhuya praprachchakoravyo Vasudeva kathadritaha. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, O King, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word adrataha is significant because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was never fully satisfied, though continuing to hear those topics. He wanted to hear more and more, so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental message. To be eager to hear the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path by which one can achieve the highest perfection of unmotivated love for the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness is not a mechanical process. Bhakti is the deliberate offering of one's heart to the Supreme Lord for the sake of pleasing Him. Bhakti is very personal. The difference between a machine and a person is free will. A machine has no free will. A machine acts according to how it is programmed to act. Whereas a person can put consciousness, life, and soul into one's actions. A machine does not have the capacity to please the machine operator. But a person can act to please his master. Similarly, when we are engaging in devotional service, if we are simply doing it as a routine, that is mechanical. But if we are honestly and sincerely trying to express our free will to please Krishna by doing what we are doing the best we can possibly do it, then that is not mechanical, but that is very personal, and that is bhakti. In this age of Kali Yuga, it is an age of machines. We see all around, people are not controlling machines, but machines are controlling people. Just like due to this condemned nature of this age, some of us have to use computers. And do you run the computer, or does the computer run you? That's a good question. If it's not operating, so many hours and hours and hours of your day is just trying to make it right. And when we want to go somewhere, we're depending on our automobile, or a train, or a airplane. These are all machines. We're so dependent on it. To wake up in the morning, we're depending on a little machine called an alarm clock that goes throom, 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 throom to wake you up. And then when we want to cook, we have all sorts of mechanical devices. We have refrigerators to keep things cool. And we have stoves to make things hot. And when we want light in the darkness, there's a little machine called a light switch, and it gives us light. Otherwise, we're completely in darkness. We are so much depending on machines. In the Vedic culture, it's a very simple life. Everything's very personal. When you want to plow the field, you use an ox. It's a person. You have to have a personal relationship with the oxen to make him work. But nowadays there's machines, tractors, and all sorts of other farm devices. No personality. You just put some fuel in, you turn the key, it's metal, you can kick it, you can spit on it, you can do anything you want to it, and it's just going to go. So mechanical. The clothes we're wearing, in the Vedic times, there was the weaving mills where people would, you have seen the pictures of Mahatma Gandhi spinning his clothes. But now there's big machines, and so many clothes are being made, and we're wearing mechanical things, we're eating mechanical things. These days, now, even the food you eat, it's so mechanical, how it is harvested, how it is grown. So because we become what we associate with, because this is such a mechanical age, we become very mechanical. Look in the cities, as you see people riding in the crowded trains to and from their offices in the morning or their factories. Do they look like they're really putting their hearts and souls and feelings into what they're doing? Or are they just as mechanical as the train is? Because of associating with the train, they become machines. And the factories today, people are just operating machines. They become so mechanical. So when we come to bhakti, we have to overcome this mechanical propensity. When we're chanting our rounds, it's like a machine. Now it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll program my machine to chant these rounds. And Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And when you finish the round, like a machine, you're programmed to pull a bead down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. When you do it, a little light goes, and you pull the next bead down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And then the conch shell blows, and you stand up. And then the deities open, and mechanically you bow down. And then you get up and you can mechanically look at the deities. And you do your service, offering arti. It's time for arti, Mangal arti. It's my day. I'm programmed to do it on this day. So like a machine, your hand moves. So this is our tendency, even our dealings with others. When two machines meet each other, they go, Haribo, Haribo. Please accept my obeisance. There you go. It is very much our conditioning. So we have to overcome this mechanical propensity. And how do we do that? By really putting our hearts and souls into whatever we do to do it the best we possibly can for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, for the betterment of other people's lives. Then it is not mechanical. But we have to be very, very cautious to really put our consciousness into whatever we do, because it is our conditioned nature, due to the environment all around us, to do everything very, very mechanically. Materialistic people, very mechanical. They go to sleep. It's like the engine's turned off for some time. And then the alarm clock. Cling, ling, 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 ling. Wake up. And then you take bath. And then you read newspaper. And you drink some coffee. And then you get in your car or go to your train. And you go to your office or your work. And you do everything in a mechanical way. Even people who go to school, so mechanical. So this age of Kali Yuga, there are machines controlling man, even more than men are controlling machines. That is the trick of Maya. We think that we're doing these things for our benefits, but then we become a servant of what we create. So in Krishna consciousness, even though we're living in such a mechanical city, where it dehumanizes the human race, makes people's, and that's the whole principle. Capitalism is not to make your human sentiments develop and blossom into love of God. Capitalism is meant to make you into a consumer. Consumer means one who eats, one who sleeps, one who enjoys, one who just purchases things and works to create things so that other people can purchase it, so that the mechanical or the machine of the economy can grow. And communism is the same basic principle. But rather than put the emphasis on consumer, making you a consumer, they make you into a statistic, a statistical number within the state to serve the purpose of the state. Hare Krishna. Just like a little part of the machine. And the cities of the world today are so much dehumanizing civilization. It's very difficult to find even real affection or love. We have talked to people in New York City. There's about 10 million people in New York City. I have spoken to people, they live in an apartment complex with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of neighbors. They ride on the subways with thousands of people every day. Within their city block there might be 5,000 people all crowded together. And yet, most of the people living in these apartments, they do not know a single neighbor. They do not know anyone. They don't even have any friends. They don't know who they're riding on the train with. They don't know who they're living next door to. And they're afraid to even find out who they may be, because they'll be cheated, they'll be exploited. They all have all kinds of security devices and double, triple locks. Unbelievable. People living so close together, and they don't even know each other. because they're living in a city of machines. And this is probably the majority of those people. And then even in the families, in the Western civilization, oftentimes the families don't even know each other. They have mechanical relationships, very little affection or what we would understand to be love, even in the material sense. Because the society around is dehumanizing people. And each and every one of us, to one extent or another, are products of this type of society. We come to Krishna consciousness and we are told to be fulfilling the real aim of human life. But we have never even understood what it means to be a human. We're just statistical units within the society. We're programmed in that consciousness. The world is so mad in this way. Look at all these rival countries fighting and killing each other. The soldiers, they are just programmed. This is your nation. This is your gun. Shoot him. They don't even think. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Who is this? Maybe this person's right and I'm wrong. You're not even allowed to think like that. People are just killing. All these terrorists, they're just programmed in this way. They cannot even experience the human suffering that they're causing others. So, of course, there are various degrees. But in every activity we perform in devotional service, we should do it with consciousness. We should really feel what we are doing on the basis of Vaishnava philosophy. Whatever we do should be an offering to please Krishna, to please Guru, to please Vaishnavas. That makes us actual people. And that's the only way we please Krishna. We please Krishna when we do what we do to please Krishna. But literally all day long we have to check ourselves. When the ladies are cooking in the kitchen of the deities, how the tendency is just to be mechanical. Cut this vegetable. Your hand becomes a cutting machine. Clean this pot. But actually, are we thinking, this is for the pleasure of Krishna? It's not to get done on time, simply. When I put these spices in, let me put these spices in such a way that it will be the best possible preparation for the pleasure of Krishna and Sri Radharani. When I washed this pot, Prabhupada said, the pots should be like mirrors. They should be so shiny that you can see a reflection through it. That's how we should be washing pots. Not, I have to wash this pot. There's still 6 more pots left to go. And I'm only on this one. Somehow or other, I'm going to get it done. That's mechanical. But washing the pot is as good as dressing the deity if you have the proper consciousness. Krishna accepts your love. If somebody's mechanically dressing the deity, like a person putting ornaments on a statue without thinking this is God, I should put every jewel on in such a way that is pleasing to Krishna. But if we're just thinking in a mechanical way, then it's a greater puja to wash the pot with feeling that this is Krishna's pot. This is the energy of Srimati Radharani's kitchen. Prabhupada said the kitchen is the abode of Sri Radharani. It's her favorite place. And the paraphernalia within that kitchen is Sri Radharani's personal property. That means it's sacred. After millions of births, I get to wash this pot. I get to do this seva. Let me do it so nice. This pot should sparkle. It should shine. It should smile. Hare Krishna. Everything we do, we should put our heart and soul into it. That is Krishna consciousness. When we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class, this is Krishna's message. Many of you are mechanically sitting here thinking, this Swami, he's a madman. He already kept us so late during this Guru Puja, 1 hour Guru Puja. It's beyond the limits of regulation. And now he expects us to sit here for this class. But if I get up and leave, then people will think, oh, he's not a very good devotee. So I will sit. Somehow or other, I will stay until it ends. And I'm seeing the seconds are moving on the clock. But Swami's not even looking at the seconds. What's wrong with him? It's time for prasad. It's late for prasad. So I'll sit. Because people must think that I'm a sincere soul. And we're hearing what's coming in. It's coming through our ears. But are we actually listening? Are we actually feeling that I need to hear this? This is Krishna. This is going to purify my heart. I must be attentive. I must concentrate on this message. I must reciprocate with this message within my mind. Every aspect of our life, we have this tendency to do it mechanical due to the mechanical conditionings of our environment. And we must be very, very sincere to overcome this tendency. Everything we do, when we put our tilak on in the morning, when we put on our clothes, it should be for the pleasure of Krishna. We should do it in a way that pleased Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada first came to the Western world, he taught us every aspect of life was so different. People in the West, they sleep as late as they can sleep. You get up at 7:30 because you have to go to school or you have to go to work. But when it's the weekend, no one gets up at 7:30. People sleep till 9 or 10 because they don't have to get up. Yes, in this way, people dress in a certain way, they eat in a certain way, they speak in a certain way. It's the mechanical conditioning of our culture. And then Srila Prabhupada came and changed everything around. It was exciting for people because they couldn't be mechanical, at least at the beginning. You have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a very big change in life. And you don't get up and read the newspaper. You get up and take cold bath. It's hard to be mechanical in a cold bath, especially in the winter of America. And then you go up and you start chanting on these beads. First thing, 2 hours, Hare Krishna, and you dance and chant in front of the deities. And then even eating. Everyone's accustomed to eating on a plate with a fork and a spoon and a knife. Prabhupada said, eat with your hands. And it's very much, you have to figure out how to eat with hands. And then every food that you're eating is completely different experience than you've ever tasted in your life. Basically, in America, there's 2 spices, salt and pepper. Plus. And then Prabhupada starts giving us all these chutneys and everything else. And then dressing. All your life you're putting on dress or pants or shirt. And now you're tying dhotis and saris. You're putting clay on your face. Tilak. Every aspect of life. Even when you go to the bathroom, where's the toilet paper? Where is it? We don't use toilet paper, Prabhu. We use water. Hare Krishna. That's one of the biggest shocks of coming into a Hare Krishna temple. For a conditioned soul. So Prabhupada gave us such a new culture. He just broke us completely out of our mechanical way of life. But then the tendency is, once you become familiar, that becomes mechanical. But we have to be very, very much conscious of whatever we do. Every day is a new day in Krishna service. Every moment is a new moment. A new challenge. Challenges are good. When a crisis comes in our life, or an obstacle is there to overcome, that is Krishna's mercy. Because it brings us out of this mechanical tendency, and we have to really pray, Krishna, save me. If you're a very eloquent speaker, you can just be like a machine and speak from Srimad Bhagavatam. But when you don't know what you're going to say or how you're going to say it, you have to just pray, Krishna, Prabhupada, speak something through me. I don't know what to say. And this way, when there are obstacles on the path and we're sincere to overcome them, it's actually Krishna's mercy, because we have to pray helplessly. We have to put our heart and soul into it. But when things are easy and routine, then the mechanical tendency again comes into our life. So here we are finding that Shukadev Goswami, he's speaking to Maharaj Parikshit about Vidura. Maitreya Rishi just described very, very technical information of how step by step Lord Brahma creates the universe. It's subject matter which is quite philosophical with a lot of details. But yet, because it had a connection to Krishna, he was so enthusiastic to hear about it. Vidura adored to hear any topic in relationship to Krishna. And this is his qualification. Shrinvatam sukata Krishna punjas ravana kirtana. When we are enthused, inspired, eager to hear the message of Krishna, Krishna reciprocates from within the heart and reveals himself to us. Hearing is the basic principle of the path of bhakti. Unless we first hear eagerly, attentively, with sincerity, it is very difficult to follow any of the other principles of devotional service. And hearing doesn't mean like tape recorder, taking in data and giving out data. It means really trying to understand the message, really trying to reciprocate with the giver of the message by our sincerity, by our eagerness. That is how we please Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explained that his Guru Maharaj took note of him for this purpose. Srila Prabhupada was empowered to do what no other Vaishnava has ever done in the history of the planet. In the modern age, he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world with no compromise. No doubt, there are Nityasiddha Paramhamsa great acharyas, and we cannot compare who is better, who is more advanced. That is very unnecessary. Srila Rupa Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they are supreme, topmost associates of Krishna, immersed in the deepest ecstasies of love of God. We cannot say that anyone is better than them. However, we can objectively conclude that Srila Prabhupada was empowered to perform a particular mission that no one has ever done before. To fulfill one of the very sacred principles of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire, that his holy name be chanted in every town and village throughout the world. And Prabhupada has set that mission in motion to such a wonderful, wonderful degree. And we understand that in Krishna consciousness, it's never our own power that can help us or others. It's the power of God. We are instruments. That's all we'll ever be, as instruments. So how Prabhupada became such an instrument? To chant so wonderfully, to speak so nicely that he could convert people's hearts, to manage so excellently a society of tens and thousands of devotees all over the world who are not getting paid anything to do their service. How do you manage such a society? Prabhupada explained that he sat and he eagerly heard his spiritual master. During the Braj Mandala Parikrama, Srila Prabhupada went to hear Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In Koshi, which is the treasury house of Nanda Maharaj, he was giving a talk, and Srila Prabhupada sat. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking for hours and hours. Very high vocabulary. Srila Prabhupada explained he was trying with such intense desire to understand everything his Guru Maharaj was speaking. And Prabhupada admitted that many of the things I did not understand he was speaking. It was very, very high philosophy with a very advanced vocabulary. However, he was really, really hearing with his heart. He did not go away. He just wanted to hear, to drink the nectar of Harikatha. Sometime later in Allahabad, Srila Prabhupada was recommended for initiation. This was approximately 11 years after he accepted Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his guru and gave his life to him cent per cent within his heart. The first meeting at Ultadanga Junction Road in Calcutta, Srila Prabhupada accepted him as his guru, accepted his mission as his life and soul. But still, Srila Prabhupada did not accept initiation till 11 years later. He did not take it cheaply. When he was recommended by the brahmachari in charge of the Rupa Goswami Gaudiya Math in Prayag Dham, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very pleased to accept him. He said, yes, I have taken note that he likes to hear. He does not go away. I will accept him. Another time, Srila Saraswati Thakur told Srila Prabhupada, or told others, because he hears so nicely, therefore he will speak so nicely. Because he hears so well, anything he writes, print it without exception. He was adored by his spiritual master, especially because of his eagerness to hear. And Srila Prabhupada explained, my only qualification is I have simply heard from my spiritual master, and I am repeating what I have heard for you. Because of that eagerness to hear, how Krishna empowered him. This is the message he wanted to give to us. The basis of our spiritual life is hearing. Bhakti means to really hear with the desire to purify our heart through this message. Knowing that the message is Krishna himself. Srila Prabhupada explains in this beautiful purport, he wanted to hear more and more so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental message. How personal. Can you be blessed by the wall? Can you be blessed by the floor? Can you be blessed by your car? You cannot be blessed by anything but a person. Can you be blessed by a mathematical equation? But the Srimad Bhagavatam, this substance is transcendental sound. It is non-different than Krishna. It is Krishna. When we are hearing the description of the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam or any of the great Bhakti Shastras, we are personally associating with Radha and Krishna and all the previous acharyas who have passed down this message. They are in this sound vibration. And the sound vibration itself is offering the most auspicious blessings by which you can achieve liberation from all suffering and the ecstatic joy of loving Krishna. To the degree we are eager to hear, serious to follow what we hear, we are being blessed by this message. To receive the blessing of Harikatha is the beginning of our spiritual life. Thus we must embody personal consciousness. Nothing is impersonal in the entire creation. Everything is being executed by the personal will of Krishna, directly or indirectly. Therefore, a devotee must do everything he does in a personal way and see everything that comes into our life in a personal way. And reciprocate as a person, with a person. Even when it rains, it's not just material nature throwing water on you. It's Krishna through material nature. Every drop of water that falls on your head in the monsoon rain season is personally being sent through Indra by Krishna. Every ray of sun that comes into our sight, it is personally being emanating by the arrangement of Surya, who's doing everything as an agent of Krishna. So devotees, by hearing in the proper consciousness, learn to see and experience everything within this entire creation as the personal mercy of Krishna, and to personally reciprocate with that. Both the good and the bad, the pleasures and the pains, the success and the failures. Krishna isn't concerned whether you succeed or fail by the material sense. He's concerned that whatever the result may be, how are you personally reciprocating with Him in devotion? That is your success. If you miserably fail by material means, but you're personally thinking, Krishna, so nice you have done like this for me. I don't understand, but I know it's your mercy. I know if it's for my ultimate goal. I know I have to take shelter of the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Then in your so-called failure, you have succeeded. That is the caliber by which we must come to in our consciousness, understanding what is success, and this comes by hearing. When we hear in a very personal and attentive way, it puts every aspect of our life in a spiritual perspective. Sometimes in our daily activities, so many bewildering things come upon us. How is this? Why am I like this? Why is everything like this? Why is everyone like this? I do not understand. And we sit down and read through the Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada says just what we need to hear. Oh, yes, very good. Now I understand what is to be done. Arjuna played the part of all of us. He was confused and bewildered in this world on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But once he heard from Krishna, all confusion, all bewilderment was gone. He knew exactly what was to be done and how it was to be done. Similarly, when we read these books, when we come to the classes, all of our doubts will be dispelled if we are receptive to hear with an open heart and an eager mind. That is a fact. If we are confused, if we have doubts, if there is bewilderment due to the environment or the people around us, we can understand it is because we are not hearing properly. If we hear properly, Krishna reveals. The message is absolute. Absolute means there is no lacking. There is nothing within the creation that is not included within the absolute. This absolute message includes the solutions to every problem within the entire existence. And if we hear the holy name with that type of consciousness, then Krishna reveals himself. Krishna says in Gita, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime, similarly all ignorance is dispelled when Krishna comes into our life. And he's coming through Srimad Bhagavatam, through Harinam Sankirtan. But we must receive him and reciprocate with him. That is the perfection. So yes, we all have so many services that we want to perform for Krishna. But know the basis of everything is hearing and chanting. Unless you are hearing submissively, hearing with a great anticipation to learn. And unless we are chanting with a consciousness that Krishna is none different than his name, really trying to hear that name as we are chanting, worship the Lord through the mantra, then every other service we do will be so pleasing to Krishna. So this is the basis. Sravanam Kirtanam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions?
What I understood, I just want to recheck whether I understood correctly, Maharaj. Because we are in the bodily concept, and the body tends to be mechanical or machine-like, is that the reason why we prefer to do things mechanically, because we are very often in a bodily concept?
Yes, that is perfect understanding. The body is a machine, yantra rudanimaya. And the bodily concept is quite mechanical. It's like we have Dr. Dwarkadish Prabhu. He's a very excellent doctor at the celebrated Bhaktivedanta Hospital. But Srila Prabhupada once said that doctors are just like plumbers. They're just fixing a machine, like mechanics. Because the body is a machine. But when the doctor understands the soul within a person, then even while doing the mechanical work, he can do it in a very personal way. But the body is a machine. Yes?
So the next level is, Maharaj, when we are on a mental platform and intellectual platform, these are also mechanical. Is that true?
It is subtle mechanics. Yes. Is there any other? Yes? Radhe Shyam Prabhu.
Maharaj, most often, as you are telling the lecture today, we realize that like chanting is like a hallucination, or it is mechanical, or sometimes relationships are mechanical. The greatest problem is we don't know the remedy, Maharaj. It's not that we don't realize it is mechanical, we realize it is mechanical. But we are told that we should continue chanting and reading and hearing, and gradually it will be gone out after a period of time. Is there no immediate remedy that we should take, or any action that we should take when we notice ourselves becoming mechanical with someone?
Yes. You should be attentive. As soon as you are attentive, then you are no longer mechanical. If your mouth is moving and your hands are moving on the beads, that is mechanical. But if you're really sincerely trying to hear the sound, that is not mechanical. If your body is bowing down to a devotee, that is mechanical. But if you're actually concentrating on what you're saying, what does Vanchakalpatarubhyascha mean? Listening to the sound vibration that Vaishnavas are like desire trees. They are full of compassion for all the conditioned souls. I bow down to you. That is not mechanical. But if you just see someone and you bow, first your waist moves, then your legs, your knees bend, then your head goes down, then your vocal cords start making sound. Finished. Next. That's mechanical. You should be attentive. See, machines do not laugh like this. It's personal. But we should be attentive in whatever we do. Then we are not mechanical. Listen to what you're saying. When we're in front of the deities, the conch shell blows. Samsara dava naladita loka. We should be thinking, Samsara dava naladita loka. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, is like a cloud pouring water and extinguishing the forest fire of material existence. We're concentrating, listening to the purifying Sanskrit vibration, trying to put our heart into the prayer. But if we're just moving our mouth, computers can say that now. So that any one of us can overcome our mechanical tendencies at this very moment by just being attentive, putting your heart into what you're doing. Hear the mantra. Hear your prayers. And whatever you do, try to concentrate on doing it as expertly as possible, because it's going to be offered to Krishna. Then we are not mechanical. In our relationships with Vaishnavas, if we care about them, it's not mechanical. We actually want to help them. We want to please them. We want to serve them. We're not just doing it as a formality or because it's supposed to be done. If we don't care, we should do it anyway, but we should understand why we're doing it. Therefore, we should have a good philosophical background and do everything with great attention. That is bhakti. Arjuna wasn't just firing arrows. He was firing arrows for Krishna. And he was conscious that he was fighting that war for Krishna. Does that answer your question? Hare Krishna. Is there any other question? Yes?
Guru Maharaj, you have been talking that bhakti is a very personal process, and we have often heard that we should be soft-hearted as devotees. But also in the Bhagavad Gita, the description of a Sthita Prajna is given, wherein it is said that though there are so many impulses coming, so many things happening around him, he is not disturbed. He is like an ocean, and so many rivers are flowing into it. Still he is not disturbed. So I am not able to reconcile these two things. Because as a devotee, I mean, if you are soft-hearted, how can you not be affected by what is going on around you? I mean, these two seem to be contradictory. So what is the true understanding? What is the correct understanding of being soft-hearted and at the same moment being in the Sthita Prajna consciousness?
Being not affected means, in essence, that due to the sense perceptions that are constantly invading your life, you are not cast down into the sensual platform or the mental platform. Just like if you see money. To be affected in the material way means to become very greedy. I must have this money because I must have the security of a comfortable life by which I can enjoy with my family. Then if you gain money, you become elated, and if you lose money, you become distressed because you're attached. However, a transcendental person may see money. He's not concerned for his sense gratification. He's not concerned for his mental conceptions. He's concerned to use it for Krishna. Therefore, one should not be disturbed due to the desire to enjoy material nature or a desire to stop suffering on the material platform. But on the spiritual level, you should be very attentive and very aware. But you're doing it for service. Arjuna was very attentive, but he was doing it for Krishna. So Krishna explains that a devotee is transcendental, indifferent to what happens in this world. That means he's indifferent on the level of wanting to enjoy this world. Krishna says he sees gold and a lump of dirt equally. It makes no difference to him. They're both just material elements. Gold can give you great sense gratification. Lump of earth just makes you dirty. So a materialist makes great distinction. A devotee makes no distinction. Because for him, he doesn't care about sense gratification. He's experiencing something higher beyond gold and dirt. However, in the service of Krishna, he can use gold. He can also use dirt. So he uses. On the material level, people are caring for one another because they have a selfish, egoistic motive. I care about my child because he's my child. And by serving him, I'm serving me. I'll be happy if he's happy. So actually, you're serving your own ego. That's just extended in the form of your child. Yes? But a devotee is detached. What is this child? It's not my child. It's Krishna's child. I have to care for him even more. Detached from the egoistic perception, but attached to the pleasure of Krishna. So devotees care about each other. A pure devotee is the most caring, but he's the most aloof. That means he's not aloof from helping you. He's not aloof from pleasing Krishna by helping you. He's aloof to his own mind, senses, and false ego. Does that answer your question? Hare Krishna. So sometimes a devotee appears to be acting just like anyone else. Nanda Maharaj was a cowherd man. Yashoda Mai was mother. They were churning butter. So many farmers churn butter. They were plowing the fields. So many farmers plow fields. They were caring for their children. So many. What was the difference between what Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai were doing and what practically any other Vaishya farmer do? The difference is Nanda and Yashoda were completely detached from any desire for personal selfish enjoyment. They didn't see anything as an extension of their own ego. They did their duties, which appeared very ordinary, but they were totally transcendental because they were for the pleasure of Krishna. They were sacrificed for Krishna.
So in summary, Maharaj, it means that as long as it is directly connected to Krishna, we may be happy or we may be distressed in that sense, in the sense of the service to the Lord. But as far as our false ego and mind and senses are concerned, we are not affected whether we get benefit or we don't get.
That is the perfection of our consciousness when we come to that stage. We may not be on that stage, but by following the process of Krishna consciousness attentively and sincerely, we gradually become purified and come to that stage. Thank you very much. Now you can all go to take prasad. However, as you're eating prasad, don't be like a garbage disposal. You should try to be conscious that Krishna is in the form of this prasad. This is His mercy. And with every bite you should be thinking, oh, how merciful is Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki